Hurricane Milton, as I covered last night, is one of the very, very unique hurricanes in terms of its direction and in terms of how quickly it reached Category 5 over the course of 24 hours. It is shocking meteorologists, causing them to basically cry on television, on live TV. Like it's going to make impact sometime around, I guess, like 2-3 p.m. tomorrow, my time, or no, Florida time, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. It's going to make impact, though, and I assume that the tropical storm surrounding it is already bracing, is already slated to make landfall. Good morning. Here's your Hurricane Milton update. As of 1 p.m. CDT, Hurricane Milton is a Category 4 hurricane with wind speeds of 155 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 923 millibars. This is a decrease from his peak last night at 180 miles per hour and 897 millibars. My friend in Tampa Bay's boss signed him up to work storm shelters without telling him, except to say he will be fired if he doesn't do it. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Oh, Wednesday night at like 8 p.m. EST. Okay. So yeah, the evacuation zones or the avoid zones is basically like a fucking dick sleeve over Florida. Okay. It's just the path is going in from Tampa, coming out of fucking Orlando. Normally, you don't have hurricanes that take this trajectory, this path. It's unique for a hurricane to actually take this path coming from like a eastbound hurricane that is coming from the southwest. It's usually coming from the opposite side. Apparently, since 1851, only 14 hurricanes have taken this path. What now, liberals, is what I say. Obviously, because these unimaginable, once-in-a-lifetime, world-changing, catastrophic natural disasters seemingly happen with incredible frequency, you either got to look at it and think to yourself, I wonder what the deal is here. Is it perhaps anthropogenic climate change, warming the fucking waters, making hurricanes more powerful, making hurricanes more powerful in a shorter period of time, making it much harder to predict the trajectory and the impact, making it much more difficult to actually evacuate, especially when these biblical style fucking hurricanes are making landfall with incredible frequency. I wonder if it's anthropogenic climate change, something that scientists have had a consensus on for quite a while, or some other thing that they're hiding from us, like Jewish, Chinese, Mexican, undocumented space laser weather machines that are causing this to happen. It's probably the second thing, is what I believe. Yeah, it's government weather control. Today, Milton is expected to bring hurricane force winds and a life-threatening storm surge along portions of the northern coast of Yucatan Peninsula. I would like to specify that despite the fact that the Yucatan is not in the direct path of the storm, Milton is still likely to bring extreme levels of rainfall, and the northern coast is still under a hurricane or tropical storm warning. Video of Milton fighting off the Yucatan. Here it is. Last night in Cancun with that vigorous convection weather, Hurricane Milton. God damn, that lightning killed the guy. That's insane, dude. Benchmark for rapid intensification is 35 miles gained in 24 hours. Milton gained 95 miles in 24 hours. 95 miles. What the fuck? That's my goat, Reed. Milton went through an eyewall replacement cycle last night, which is part of why it weakened slightly. An eyewall replacement cycle is when a new eyewall begins to form on the outside of the previous one. This cuts off the energy the inner eyewall needs, causing it to collapse and the storm to weaken. Eventually, the outer eyewall completely replaces the inner one, and the storm may re-intensify. This is likely to happen with Milton. Made the 16-hour drive last night with my roommate to evacuate from Tampa Bay area. Fairly confident we will lose everything in this. Probably going to try and get a new job in Yosemite again because of the initial startup cost being so cheap. Reed Timmer is on his way down to Florida because he's literally insane. I assume he will be live streaming the storm. That's my goat. That's my goat, Reed. when you look at the videos of like people going in one direction and there's massive fucking gridlock traffic, okay, of people trying to leave Tampa, and then you see the one car on the other side in that directly going into Tampa. That's Reed. That's our boy Reed, okay? Friend of the show, Reed Timmer, PhD. It's him and a bunch of bucket boys, okay? Ready to go. Put those telephone and electricity poles back up immediately. And maybe some bucket bunnies too. Yeah, you got the linemen on their way, okay? You got maybe a couple bucket bunnies also driving alongside them. I would go so far as to say bucket bunnies, I think, are also essential workers alongside the linemen. People think it's just Reed Timmer and the linemen that are driving in the fucking pathway of the hurricane to go do some honest work, okay? But ain't nobody's talking about the bucket bunnies that are also going down there, okay? They got to keep the morale up. Ain't nobody's talking about them. Do you understand? It's fucked up. What the fuck is a bucket bunny? A bucket bunny is a woman that is sexually attracted to the linemen that come into the area. He's about to be misogynist. Line person, my bad, liberals. Linemen oftentimes and truckers oftentimes go to the area of impact with, you know, life-saving supplies, and linemen specifically put back the and restore electricity and communication to the areas that need it. Bucket bunnies are the people that have sex with them. They're like the lot lizards, providing an essential service for people who are in these areas hit by catastrophic storms and the like. And honestly, it's a thankless job, but you know, it is a very important part of the process and a very important part of the local economy. All right, let's get to the mainstream coverage of this matter, and then we'll fuck around a little bit more.
Morning, Michael. We are less than 48 hours from a second major landfalling hurricane on the Gulf Coast of Florida. I'm in downtown Tampa. This is the convention center. You can see that water. It looks 10 to 12 feet down that seawall. Well, in lesser storms, we have seen all of this flood. So that's why all the people that live here are preparing for the approach of what made it to one of the strongest hurricanes on record in the Atlantic Basin.
This morning, the race to get out before explosively powerful Hurricane Milton comes in. Milton, still more than 5.
See, look, you're wondering, okay? People leaving Tampa, bucket bunnies and the linemen going into Tampa alongside the storm chasers, okay? A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people do not understand what's going on here. They're like, what? Why are people driving into Tampa? There's a lot of work to be had in Tampa.
Comes in. Milton, still more than 500 miles southwest of Tampa, now a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 155 miles per hour.
This is the storm of the century.
Mass evacuations ordered, prompting bumper-to-bumper traffic on highways out of town.
I saw that fucking video of the, I think it was like the sheriff's department or whatever, like with their car, driving through these like quiet suburbs that have been emptied out, basically being like, leave this area. This is an evacuation zone. Shit is dystopian, dog. Oh, Jesus Christ. Time lapse flying by Hurricane Milton about 2 hours ago. Holy moly. Look at that. God damn, dude. They're doing phone alerts every 10 minutes. Prime time for some high crime. Oh my God. Don't even start.
All right. So.
Oh, yeah, this is the aqua fence, which probably is not going to be enough to protect the Tampa General Hospital, by the way. I'm just letting you know. The aqua fence is actually really cool. It's really cool technology. It's wild. Like, it uses the weight of the water to basically keep it stable, I think. some science shit. I've seen this before. The problem is they're talking about storm surge over 15 feet. And I don't know if this is 15 feet. I don't think this is 15 feet. So it's about 3 feet too short for the predicted surge. Yeah, we'll get to all of that. God damn it, I can't even fucking finish this news coverage on it. Holy shit.
As the strongest hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico in nearly 2 decades takes aim at the Sunshine State.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of cars.
Rianne Ramirez and her family of 4 driving 8 hours to leave Florida, double the time it would normally take.
It is bumper to bumper to the point where we were standstill, not moving for an hour at a time.
Hurricane hunters flying into the storm to collect critical data. Milton is expected to be knocked down by some wind shear before making landfall late Wednesday into early Thursday, but the storm surge could still be unprecedented.
I think there's something wild about people being like, oh man, I'm really afraid of the looting. That's why I can't leave my house. It's like, listen, Deborah, ain't nobody trying to break into your fucking trailer park. It's gone. Like this is one of those moments where it's like, dude, be real, be for fucking real. I understand how hard it is. I understand how hard it is to specifically fucking, leave everything behind, especially if you got pets. But if looting is your primary concern here, you're out of your goddamn mind, okay? What looting? That shit is all underwater at that point.
Tampa Bay to Sarasota to Venice could see 10 to 15 feet of ocean water pushing onto land, prompting one of the largest evacuations in years.
I'm going to go door to door myself and make the plea over the next 24 hours to get as many people as possible to leave.
There are definitely looters, but nowhere near enough to affect everyone to worry about it. Dude, what are you talking about? Looters? Guys, please understand something, okay? 15 feet storm surge. What looters, bro? If someone steals your fucking shit before it's underwater, then, at least someone's making good use of it. What are you talking about? You know what's going to loot everything? The water, okay? The water is going to loot everything. Here's what it will also loot. Your fucking life. If you stay home and you're in the area of impact, you're worrying about the wrong looting at that point, okay?
But those staying put are prepping for the worst. Frantically filling sandbags, boarding up homes, stocking up.
This is such American fantasy, right? If you think you're gonna go in and loot, you got another thing coming. It's like, what are you gonna do? Shoot people? What is happening? I don't think people understand the primary consideration at this moment should be placed on survival. Okay? The goal for every single person in the area of impact should be to try and survive. Unless you got some fucking gills on you, all right? And webbed fingies that you can make ease of, you can just swim around in that filth, you're cooked, okay?
This is not going to be an opportunity for folks to take advantage of people. If you think you're going to go in and loot, you got another.
Dude, Americans are so crazy, man. Americans are so fucking nutty. God, this country is so broken, dude. We are such a broken country that, even in the midst of this, Ron DeSantis is like, oh yeah, I'm going to use my federal resources on fucking killing people. What are you saying? What are you saying? This is not even remotely a priority, okay? It's crazy. It's crazy. Everything's got to be culture war shit, okay? Everything's got to be political, dude. Everything.
Another thing coming. You go into somebody's house after the storm passes, think that you're going to be able to commit crimes. You're going to get in really serious trouble. And quite frankly, you don't know what's behind that door in a Second Amendment state. So do not try to take advantage of people who are suffering because of the results of this storm. That goes for Helene continually, but then of course that will be the case for Milton. I know we've already brought a lot of people, held people accountable in post Helene. and we will be very swift across all of.
If you try to steal my cryptocurrency, you got another thing coming for you.
Levels of government to throw the book at people, and of course, when you make these bad decisions, you're opening yourself up to response from property owners who may be inside that house.
Yeah, meanwhile, this is what's going on in Apollo Beach, Florida, baby. Look at this.
Significant storm surge and intense wind moving into the area as the storm impacts our community. The time to leave is now. This is the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Mandatory evacuations have been ordered for your area.
Please read out loud. As a firefighter paramedic who has lived through many hurricanes in the Houston area, another fucking area that literally is technically uninhabitable, but they decided to just fucking pour concrete over land that is supposed to soak up the water, and then decided this will be fine. And now it gets flooded regularly for no fucking reason. Not dissimilar to Florida, mind you. 9/11 will not come into if winds and flooding are high enough. There should be no one left in the area because not even the fire department will respond. We've left buildings burning during Hurricane Harvey because we just couldn't make it out. Please, if you're living in the pathway, leave. Just leave. Imagine leaving those homes behind. HasanAbi, way someone go and live in Florida. What? It's just crazy to be like, I am already thinking about the looting. Okay, like thinking about the theft that might occur when half of these fucking houses are probably going to be underwater is insane, okay? It is a genuinely insane thing to fantasize about. My partner has conservative extended family that live on an island south of Tampa and aren't leaving because they'll be fine, even though they live 10 feet off the ocean. They didn't even buy sandbags. They're fucking rich too. They have zero excuse.
Please leave now. We anticipate significant.
Well, it's getting real.
Approaching our community now.
Yeah. If anyone makes the poor decision to stay, make sure to turn your breakers off if it starts flooding. In Helene, my fridge caught on fire after it flooded. Jesus Christ. Yeah. You got mayors. You got the mayor of Tampa being like, if you stay behind, you will die. I am going to make this very clear. Okay? If you stay behind, you will die. That's what she said on CNN. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are like, yo, if you start looting, like looting what, bro? The fucking hurricane's going to take care of the looters, even if you want to think about that. Like, if that is a consideration for you, guess what, dude? The looters are going to fucking die too. So you don't have to like fantasize about shooting them. Yeah, people are going to be looting. People are going to be looting the waterlogged PlayStation 5s from your suburban homes, dude.
Many shelves already empty.
I have a 1-year-old as of tomorrow, and my wife's expecting our second child, so we just want to take necessary precautions.
5,000 National Guard troops activated. Tropicana Field, where the Tampa Bay Rays play, turned into a staging area for relief workers. Helene left behind so much destruction less than 2 weeks ago.
It's just a little scary to protect your house because it's not just your house, it's all the houses have debris piled up as high as you can see.
Helene brought the Tampa area and its beaches record storm surge as high as 7 feet. This was Tampa General Hospital during Helene. It was protected by an aqua fence. The water nearly to the top of the fence in that 5 to 7 feet of surge. But that
was 5 to 7 feet. This is going to be double that.
Half the storm surge that's expected from Milton.
Watching the storm meteorologically yesterday was just jaw-dropping. It put on 95 miles per hour in less than 24 hours. Only 2 other storms in history have done that. So
I want to say it's crazy because like everyone's a communist when a fucking hurricane happens. But Florida, honestly, yeah, everyone's a big government commie when a fucking massive hurricane like this happens. And you know, it's not a time to gloat. Like, I don't give a shit. It's not about politics. We got to save these people. We got to make sure that they get the fuck out, right? Having said that, however, Florida is unironically proving the point that it's like, nah, actually, they're still going on the same fucking trajectory. It's crazy. They're like, no, even during a catastrophic hurricane that is about to make landfall, we've decided we are going to abide by our fucking principles, you know?
So watching it just past the Yucatan now, we're still, again, hundreds of miles away from this thing, but it will close in and it's going to go quickly, especially if you are on the west coast of Florida. Let's talk about that cone. So right now, the center of it goes just south of the bay.
Dude, look at this. It's just straight ripping through fucking Florida. Look at this. Like, that's crazy. I run a retro game store in Tampa and someone was like, what if they loot it? And I was like, let them take the soaked PS2s. I just don't think people understand. I just don't think people understand what this shit looks like. Like, I don't think they understand the priority here. The priority is survival, okay?
Bradenton almost, but remember, it can travel still because of the cone of uncertainty is what it's called, anywhere really from Crystal River down to Fort Myers. So we're closing in on exactly where it will make that path, and that's going to matter. But I can tell you the hurricane force gusts from Cedar Key to Orlando, where we could see power outages with 100+ mile-per-hour winds. Lakeland, watch out for those winds. And the storm surge again, Robin, from Fort Myers at 6 to 10 feet to here 10 to 15 feet. That's stacking 3 of me and pushing that water onshore.
Tampa chatter here. If the storm goes through south of Tampa, the storm surge would be minimal. If the storm goes north of Tampa, then 20-foot storm surge. We're talking about 10-mile shifts that will determine insane catastrophic destruction. Yes, I heard the number was potentially 2,000 casualties with like $5 billion of damage in the worst case scenario.
It will move homes. It will move cars. It is going to be catastrophic. Those words I can be very confident with. Robin?
You cannot overstate that, Ginger. Thank you.
We want to get you an...
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're good to go on break, bro. All right. Here is what the 15-foot storm surge looks like, okay?
Let's talk more about that surge that Jim was mentioning, because the National Hurricane Center is warning that destructive storm surge will occur along parts of Florida's west.
It's not just about when the storm is present. Families leave their homes well before the storm touching down, leaving their homes evacuated and unattended. Come on, Hasan. Dude, I'm sorry. You are so fucking insane, okay? Do you not understand what I'm saying? If you're in the fucking pathway of the storm and you evacuated your home and you left it unattended and someone stole your TV in the fucking process, guess what would have happened if someone didn't steal your TV? First of all, we're imagining that someone came into your house and stole your television, okay? Because you were more predisposed with survival. But if it didn't get stolen, you know what happens in that situation? It gets waterlogged and probably explodes anyway. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Your home is gone, dude. What do you mean? Americans' brains are so fucking broken. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, flooding isn't an all or nothing ordeal. Like, I'm telling you right now, you should be worried about the wrong looting. You know, the looting is going to happen. It's just going to be the water that loots your shit. I'm sure they're just winding you up. No one could be that stupid. Like, if you are directly in the fucking line of impact, it's gone. Like, this is, like, you should be worried about making assessments for the insurance later down the line, if you even have it, because Florida is already dog shit with insurance. And Floridian insurance companies, okay, Florida insurers have already in the past colluded and utilized false reporting to underpay people in the aftermath of catastrophic events such as this one. So that's another part of the process. The Air Force Base MacDill has evacuated most of their personnel and all their airplanes. The fucking U.S. Air Force is getting the fuck out of Tampa. If your house has insurance, whether it's destroyed or stolen, it's covered anyways. No, not necessarily. Insurance will fucking fight you tooth and nail to try to stop you from getting all of the money back and to be able to put your life back together. Anyway, let's watch what 15 feet of let's look at what 15 feet of storm surge actually looks like. Okay, so maybe you'll understand if you're in the impact zone, if you're gonna get this shit, your TV's gone. Okay, it's done.
Coast tomorrow, and that's where we find our surge warnings. They stretch from the Everglades to Cedar Key, but also notice the potential for surge on the east coast of Florida, including Georgia and South Carolina too. You will see surge outside the cone, but the highest.
Disney Orlando is remaining open at this point. Unreal. I think there's a good reason for that, actually. For the record, from what I understand, Orlando is getting hit with Category 1 because obviously once it makes impact on land, the the hurricane is no longer going to be as severe by the time it reaches Orlando. And the other reason why it's open is because it has hotels. Like, I think the Disney parks are closed, but the hotels remain open specifically so that people can escape from like Tampa and Sarasota and potentially go in the direction of like the Orlando hotels inside of Disney World. So it's not, I immediately thought it was a bad thing as well, but I don't think it's like the worst. It seems not as bad as I also previously thought, because a lot of people, they closed the parks. Obviously, they're not like get on a fucking roller coaster in the middle of a Category 1 hurricane, but it's more so about like being able to utilize these massive hotels. Like, there will be power outages, but it's probably much better to just still be in a hotel rather than being in the fucking impact zone and dying on your roof because you wanted to defend your fucking Samsung OLED television. Oh my God.
Is expected in Tampa and Sarasota. But look at that, Naples, we could get 4 to 7 feet there. Let's focus in on the Tampa Bay area where we could see a record-setting surge over 9 feet. And I can use this simulation to show you what it will actually look like in Tampa.
Don't do the weather machine.
At 3 feet above normally dry ground, water is already life-threatening. It's too late to evacuate. Water this high can knock you off your feet, make cars float, and driving impossible. The first floor of homes and businesses are flooded. Unfortunately, the water is expected to rise even higher at 6 feet above the height of most people. Vehicles get carried away, structures start to fail. Just look at this. Anything could be in this water, sharp glass, debris, chemicals as well. The scary part is some areas could see surge values at 10 to 15 feet. And this takes us up to 9. And look what it does. At this level, the first floors of structures are completely flooded, and there are few places that it is safe when the water rises this high.
Please understand, if you're in the impact zone predicted to have up to 15 feet of storm surge, you're done. It's over. No one will save you. You will die. Okay? You will fucking die on top of your roof or in your attic. Like, you are going to die. I do not know how to explain this. Okay, I do not know if it will actually have 15 feet of storm surge, but obviously I'm going to trust the knowledgeable people on this matter because I can barely say meteorologist to begin with. Okay, I'm having a hard time saying the word. So I'm going to probably, I'm going to listen to them when they give these warnings. Okay. Kind of a similar situation to COVID, which is why it's blowing my mind that Republicans are now doing the same thing that they did with COVID, but now with something that is like directly visible. They've taken their anti-science perspective and now are applying it to this situation, and it's very frustrating. I don't know. It is very, very bad. This is very bad. We are getting dumber and dumber. Obviously, it makes sense that Trump is leading Kamala Harris by 30 points with non-college educated men in particular. 30 points. Just remember, 30 points. Pretty crazy stuff, but that's where we're at. What now, liberal? You're silly libtard. This is above 9 feet, but this CGI, this not real.
We want everyone to know their evacuation zone, listen to local officials, and evacuate when ordered to do so. And Jordan, you made a great point last time.
At least my jet ski survived.
This is not just a calm water. You're going to have waves, even whitecaps on the surge inland.
It's going to be nasty. You could, trying to think that you could walk in it. Please do not think that, all right? This thing will carry you away, especially when we've got the forecast that could go up to 15
feet. Yeah, they can't control the weather. Please read for chatters. My cousin is an insurance claims agent. When you make claims, be as specific as possible. If you say toaster, they'll pay you $3 toaster. Else, if you say brand name model toaster, they will have to try to pay closer to that actual toaster. Also, receipts and bank statements of the item will help. One thing also that you will have permanent receipts for is the subscription that you pay to the HasanAbi broadcast at the top of the hour to avoid the 3-minute ad break. Regardless of your circumstances, no matter where you're tuning in from, as long as you are inside of the North American continent, you are going to see a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. So the best way to avoid that is by subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or you can also get gifted a sub from Calm Like a Tom. Thank you for the 10 tier 1 gifted subs. This is another way that you can avoid the ad break at the top of the hour. Walk around your house and take a video of everything in it while you vocally say what the thing is in detail, and that is the documentation of you owning the stuff. It will help. Flocky, thank you for the 10 community gifted subs. Barry Balls and another 10. Tara Tragas, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I hope the next fart you do is a shit. That's really, I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. That's fucked up. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. I live in Florida and I'm not evacuating because I just installed a 16-foot lift kit on my F-350. Do you think that's a good idea? Shut the fuck up, chatter. God damn. Hell yeah, partner. You're gonna be fine. Okay. Good God. Hurricane hunters face turbulence flying through Hurricane Milton.
Up close look at Hurricane Milton. This is powerful video coming from hurricane hunters who flew into the storm. It is impressive footage, and it gives you a glimpse at what is headed for this community. Let's watch.
Yeah, they're cloud seeding, you know, according to that one guy that we watched last night. May Poontang, thank you for the 10 tier 1 gifted subs. That's right. Why is the NOAA plane flying into the hurricane, the eye of the storm, brother? Get woke. That's right. They're doing it. They're doing the damn thing. They're making it way worse on purpose. They're cloud seeding. They're doing weather control. I've never seen a dang thing like it in my life. They're vaccinating the hurricane. They're doing woke gender. They're dropping dry ice in the hurricane.
147. Pretty good. 151. Pretty good. 155. Let me grab my phone real quick. Yeah. Well.
Hell no, dude. That is, whoo, boy, that is fucked up.
Damn.
These got to be the coolest nerds on the planet, like straight up, bar none, by the way. Like their job literally is to fly into hurricanes. Like they are the coolest fucking nerds on the planet. Psychotic work, but someone's got to do it.
Hit the sun. Holy crap. All right.
Why don't they have a bunch of planes fly into the storm at an angle to redirect it? We made like thousands of planes to fight Japan during World War II. Wouldn't there be enough propeller to move it? That's awesome. Yeah. That's like all I mean, how do I respond to that? Do you understand the wind speeds we're talking about, dude? There is not like this is like fucking around the same vein as like nuking the hurricane, okay? Which kind of makes more sense more than the plane situation, the propeller situation, because like at least the nuke has enough energy. Like there's no way you could make enough energy to redirect a hurricane to shoot it off course. Like, and the nuke one obviously is still stupid. Like, make no mistake. I'm just saying that, yeah, according to NOAA and other scientific sources, a hurricane can release an amount of energy equivalent to roughly 10,000 nuclear bombs over its lifetime, meaning a single hurricane packs the power of 1,000 nuclear explosions. Yeah, a nuke doesn't have enough energy to redirect a hurricane. I'm just saying that, like, if a nuke doesn't have enough energy to redirect a hurricane, obviously a big fan is not going to be able to, like, if we had a fan as powerful as a hurricane, okay, this would be one of the most devastating weapons that we've ever created. It would have to create 10,000 nukes worth or 1,000 nukes minimum worth of energy then you would just use that instead of nukes. Like this would be. I think it's literally impossible to do such a thing.
Yeah, damn is right, followed by nervous laughter. Very powerful video there. Imagine the force of those winds and all that rain hitting a community.
This is one of my favorite CNN guys. I can't believe they sent his ass out to the fucking hurricane. He's doing hurricane duty. It's kind of messed up. Please be safe, sir. His coverage on Israel Palestine is the reason why he doesn't get the Tel Aviv gig, and he has to sit in Treasure Island, Florida now and talk about 15 feet of water that might be coming down on him. It's messed up, dude.
That's already been weathered by the storm. We actually want to get you a perspective from someone who is going to be not close to Treasure Island, roughly about 2 hours away in Sarasota, but is still concerned about the effects of Hurricane Milton. We have with us Eric Arroyo. He's a Sarasota County Commissioner. Eric, thank you so much for being with us. First and foremost, what is your chief concern about Hurricane Milton as you're hearing that it is flirting with Category 5 winds?
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. We are in a state of emergency, and my biggest concern right now is that individuals living in Zone A, B, or C of the city are not going to evacuate. That is my concern, and they need to heed this warning because this is a 100-year storm. This is unprecedented. If you made it through Debbie, if you made it through Ian, this is unlike anything we've ever faced before, and it is heading right through us.
Sir, I wonder what you would say to residents like some of the folks in the building adjacent to where we're standing. These folks, I spoke to them a short while ago. They didn't want to go on camera, but they were weighing the idea.
Someone brought up different ways to try and stop a hurricane.
How do we stop hurricanes? And the answer is not with nukes. A lot of people seem to think that if we nuke a hurricane, it'll make it go away. But these storms are way more powerful than just one nuke. So it actually would survive more likely than not. And then you've just irradiated the thing. So you have a hurricane and nuclear fallout to deal with. There's also the idea to drag icebergs down from the Arctic to try to cool down the water. But as Leonardo DiCaprio taught us, cold water sinks. These use water on the surface, so it wouldn't really react to anything. There's also the plan to possibly fly jets in the opposite direction as the hurricane spins to try to dissipate it and counteract it.
I can't believe that's wow. People have thought that. Wow.
That would be like using 40 fruit flies as defense against Shaquille O'Neal's dunk. It would do absolutely nothing. There's also the theory that if you had fans on shore, you could just blow the hurricane away. But these can be the size of the state of Texas at times, so that just wouldn't work. We have to coexist with them, building better infrastructure and heating evacuations when they're issued.
Nah! Shut up, libtard. I don't believe you. Nuke the goddamn hurricane. I'm gonna shoot it. I'm gonna shoot it. Oh my God. Yeah, if we had offshore wind turbines, we could just blow the hurricane away, but DeSantis banned it, dude. Exactly. I love that, like, while this is happening, and it's directly happening as a consequence of anthropogenic climate change, okay, making the water temperatures rise, which ends up making the hurricanes more powerful, okay? Ron DeSantis, in the midst of all of this, has banned the mention of climate change from textbooks in the state of Florida, and also recently banned offshore wind turbines. That's what they're doing. It is so insane, dude. He's like, Florida is gonna be a coal-powered state. Drill, baby, drill. It's so fucking stupid. My grandpa worked at NOAA and was a literal director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami. He doesn't believe in climate change. I recently learned we are distant relatives of Al Gore. My grandpa disowns that connection because Al Gore acknowledged climate change. He also has mainline Fox News for the last 20 years. So there's that. Someone at that level of knowledge to refuse to acknowledge it makes me feel hopeless. That's awesome. That's amazing. It's like being an astronaut and being convinced that the earth is flat, dude. That is amazing. Or like that oceanographer who literally lives next to the ocean and refuses to move, despite the fact that his job requires him to understand and accurately predict ocean levels rising. He's like, yeah, but the beaches are really nice. Here we go, visual aid. There it is. Wondering if you've seen quality reporting on trad insurers leaving Florida being replaced with shitty new ones. If the shitty new companies go insolvent, then it seems likely the government will be left holding the bag very bigly. I mean, yeah. Like I said, in the aftermath of these sorts of events, everyone becomes a fucking dirty little commie.
So they are building a wall between the Bay and Tampa General Hospital. It's actually called the Aqua Fence, and it is a fence. It's watertight. It's worked in other countries. Will it work in Tampa, though? As Paul's always said, flooding is often a bigger danger than wind, especially in our area. And as we know, Tampa General Hospital is right on the bay, right there on Davis Island.
Oh, yeah. And Fox.
It's literally on an island. Why? Why did they do that? It makes no dang sense.
13's Lloyd Sauer shows us the new way they're protecting that century-old hospital and the hundreds of patients who will ride out the storm.
They work fast
Right there.
to build a wall against the storm.
It takes 3 full days.
Please stop saying anthropogenic. It's capitalogenic. Liberals want us to think it's the fault of everyone, just a human being. Dude, it's man-made, okay? Shut up. Capitalism is also man-made. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ. The point is, it's fucking man-made. It is. We are doing it. We are responsible for it. Okay?
For our team to set it up, about 60 guys.
It's called the Aqua Fence, 1,000 feet long, 9 feet high, designed to protect Tampa General Hospital from a 15-foot storm surge.
We're a 100-year-old hospital, and we're right here on the bay.
Florida is man-made, kind of like the Netherlands. Excuse me, it is absolutely not like the Netherlands, because the Netherlands at least recognizes that building an entire city that's technically underwater is going to be a massive problem in the future. So at least they have like preventative techniques, okay? Different ways of fucking, floating the entire goddamn country. Actually, all of these engineers from the Netherlands are going to be some of the most valuable fucking people on the planet in the next couple of decades, given all of the construction work that they're doing. It's like having Japanese engineers come to the state of California to harden our infrastructure. The thing is, the Netherlands also doesn't have these massive fucking tropical hurricanes that are happening all the time, yearly.
We can't evacuate. There's not enough hospital beds in the region to take our patients.
At a cost of $1 million, they say each time they put it up, they improve it.
Yeah, the walls
but
are
the real
sick.
force that holds it.
The Aqua Fence is such an incredible invention because it's so goddamn simple, and it's awesome. It's great. Like I've watched like smaller Aqua Fence versions of this on TikTok before. And it's great. It's like, it literally holds up by the weight of the water itself. It's fantastic. The problem is what happens when the storm surge is over the height of the fence. That capitalogenic comment made me leave the left. Yeah, I know.
It up is when floodwater piles onto the horizontal base.
So the weight of the water actually supports the wall.
Yeah.
And we bolted into the ground to keep the wind from blowing it over before the water gets here.
We're told the Aqua Fence has been used for years in places like Norway to keep streams within their banks. Here in Tampa, it's used to protect a major hospital built right on the water.
Tampa General was built in the 1920s on an island in the bay.
Oh, this is okay. This makes more sense. Built in the 1920s, they built it to avoid spreading like viral diseases or some shit.
Hey, people still wonder why they would build it there. Just a few years after the hurricane of 1921. That was the last time Tampa suffered a direct hit from a major hurricane.
Not an ideal location to build a facility like this.
But the army of installers doesn't second-guess the decision of 100 years ago. They drilled wells in case city...
Yeah, the problem is you had 100 years to build a separate hospital. What the fuck, man? Like, that's crazy. You built it, a massive hurricane fucked it up, and you were like, well, this is a really good plot of land. This seems like the perfect place, dude. It's fine. Let's just rebuild it. Oh my God.
Water fails with backup generators, trucking in food for 5 days and preparing for the worst.
We expect that there's going to be...
The funniest part about it is that, like, yes, lightning doesn't tend to strike twice, except areas that are impacted by flooding are way more likely to be impacted by flooding again. Okay? Like, that's insane.
Be 12 feet of water. We will move all of the patients and staff up to the upper floors. It's actually safer to keep them here than to transport.
At this hospital on the bay, they build a fortress against the storm. Lloyd Sowers, Fox 13 News.
That's cool, man. Good luck. GG's.
Idea of potentially riding out the storm here. What would you say to them?
Lightning never strikes twice, says man whose entire house is covered in lightning rods. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about.
At this moment now, we're at about 2 p.m., a day before the storm is supposed to hit. What's your message to them?
I'll tell them exactly what I told a close family friend who's riding it out in their home in a zone A, right in the waterfront as this comes.
Go to see more dates on this and change it to 2018 coverage. A sinkhole ate that house in the neighbor's house and others just stayed there. Oh my God. I don't want to look at Google because it fucking sometimes leaks shit. Oh God. God really hates Florida. I don't really understand how people who like believe in biblical higher power shit live in Florida and not recognize. Same with Oklahoma. You got so many motherfuckers who are like, I love Christianity. I love God. It's like, bro, God is punishing you every day, dude. It's crazy. I forgot about sinkholes. My dad told me the hurricane is man-made today. He's not wrong. He's just like, it's man-made in the sense that climate change is man-made. They just don't understand how it's man-made and think it's man-made in the weather machine sense. How is it different from living on the San Andreas Fault, though? I mean, not necessarily all that different. GG's. It's just that the San Andreas... Well, the thing is, as time goes on, more and more places are seemingly uninhabitable. Okay, defended Haas? No, I can't. It's not. It's the only difference is not as. Yeah, it's not like something that we are making worse, unless we're talking about Oklahoma, where fracking has directly caused earthquakes to both increase in frequency and magnitude. The difference, however, is that like hurricanes are much more predictable and impact the same areas over and over again, whereas earthquakes are, I guess, unless the big one happens, not as damaging, and there's not really much you can do about it unless you harden your infrastructure. Like, there is a season for it. That's why the University of Miami is called the Hurricanes, the Canes. There isn't like a earthquake season in the same way that there is a hurricane season. I don't think you're going to experience a hurricane in fucking, I don't know, Minnesota. Do they get hurricanes? I don't think so, right? Like, there's just areas that hurricanes are likely to hit. But to be fair, California normally doesn't experience it. And last year, there was a big panic in Los Angeles as well. So who knows? The San Andreas Fault doesn't break away every year. Yeah, yet. Who knows?
I said, if you're going to ignore all the experts in every single evacuation order, get a Sharpie and write your name on your arm at least so that we can identify your body after.
Now, that is a morbid alert at the very least. I do wonder, sir, we've seen piles of trash across Pinellas County, certainly. I know there are other parts.
Like, our problem in California is wildfires, chatters. Wildfires born out of high wind speeds that end up fucking knocking telephone poles. An endlessly preventable issue, okay? Literally one of the most preventable natural disasters of all time. Yeah, we got earthquakes and shit, but ultimately, that's not what fucking kills people by massive numbers. It's wildfires. How do we deal with it? By doing absolutely nothing, okay? Doing nothing about these goddamn municipal these goddamn municipal electricity companies that will not harden the infrastructure. Okay? It is the most preventable thing of all time. We just don't do anything about it. Like, there was a long time ago, the California state government should have technically taken over all of the local municipal electricity companies, all the power companies. They should have just taken over PG&E and been like, no, it's ours now. You are obviously incapable. You are obviously incapable of dealing with the problem. You are refusing to deal with the problem. Investor-owned utilities is the term you're looking for. Exactly. They didn't do that, and they refused to. The government refuses to prosecute them, or at least they fucking hold up all of these court cases and refuse to listen to the injunctions delivered by the court. There's not really any movement there, and the most predictable thing happens every time there's a fucking wildfire season. Remember when PG&E caused a fuck ton of wildfires and then later promoted themselves by saying they're putting in stuff to resist wildfires as if they didn't start them? Yeah. That's why I always say half the country is underwater and the other half of the country is on fire. Okay?
Of the west coast of the Gulf Coast of Florida that have seen this issue, debris left over from Hurricane Helene. Can you give us an update on the status, what that looks like in Sarasota? You weren't directly hit by Hurricane Helene, but I know that there were problems there because I have relatives in that area.
Yeah, many problems, and there is still some debris. I was checking my email just 2 seconds ago and heard it. Now, here is the problem. Our crew, our team at the city is working around the clock and working with the county, but we have less and less contractors willing to go out into the barrier islands, which are going to be the most impacted, to pick up this debris. So it's only basically government workers now, and at some point, we have to withdraw.
Oh, also, another wonderful state that is the anarcho-capitalist dystopian future, Texas. The Texas power grid, according to SpectrumLocalNews.com, is one step closer to being connected to the United States grid, which is really interesting because not being connected to the United States grid is the reason why there were massive fucking power outages and continue to be massive power outages whenever there is a snowstorm or any kind of like temperature dip or, you know, other climate change disasters that hit Texas. Texas is like, goddamn libtards about to get my fucking electricity. I hate it. Ain't no way. We're not letting that happen, brother. Fuck yeah. ERCOT got angry at us for writing about this because they want to pretend they're still independent. Good stuff.
Because we're taking into account the safety of our employees. So as of right now, it's just us. There's virtually no contractors willing to send their workers out into the barrier islands. We've sought the help of as much help as we can. The National Guard has sent us some troops that are going to help and be on standby. But it's a difficult situation with limited resources. Right now, all we can do is hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Absolutely, and we so appreciate the work that those emergency teams do, and the last thing you would want to do is unnecessarily put them at risk. Eric, I do have one more question before we go, because I've been speaking to people around the community today about the significance of not only having two hurricanes hit 2 weeks apart, but the way that Milton transformed. You had a hurricane that, it wasn't even a hurricane, it was a tropical storm at one point, and then 24 hours later in the warm waters of the Gulf transforms into one of the top 10 most powerful hurricanes we've ever seen in the Atlantic. Does this sort of thing raise concerns for you about climate change and whether we're going to see more storms intensify this way in the future?
Well, we've been speaking to the experts, and what they tell us is that it's because of the warm water that creates the climate that creates these rapidly intensifying hurricanes. And you've heard of El Nino. What we have right now in the Gulf of Mexico is La Nina. It's the inverse of that, but it is warm waters that create this environment. And we're monitoring it. We're seeing what we can do. We don't have all the answers, but it's definitely something that's becoming more and more alarming, especially in
Every time I remember that a major party in this country, where is it, Chatter? Chatter said, every time I remember a major party in this country still denies the existence of climate change, I just get so depressed. Dude, it's not just a major party, okay? One major party denies it. It's all backed by massive corporations that know it's happening, but have actively spent the last multiple decades creating propaganda against it, okay? Which has caused more than 30% of this nation to also be firmly committed to not believing. The other party, on the other hand, does take some initiatives against it. I'll admit, like, the Democratic Party is definitely better than the Republican Party when it comes to climate change, recognizing its existence, trying to do their very best in terms of, like, at least hardening the infrastructure, things of that nature. Having said that, however, they also, on the other hand, are now completely capitulating to right-wing framing on this issue by being like, we see you, we hear you, we believe the science, but we're just not going to follow through on what the scientists are telling us. So it's really fucked up. Biggest climate bill ever passed by any country, still room for improvement. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly I think here's the way I see it, okay? The way I see it is an inevitability. Like, you have to do it, okay? It's gotten to a point where you have to do it. And if you don't do it, it's just going to kill more and more people. It's already killing people, but it's going to kill even more people, okay? That's the way I see it. In a lot of these circumstances, here, I'll give you an example from COVID, right? The American government doesn't usually give massive fucking checks out to the working poor. But during COVID, they did. Why did they do this? Under the Trump administration, the Trump bucks, if you recall. Why did they do it? Because the economy would fucking collapse. The global economy would collapse if the largest consumer engine on the planet shut down and they just didn't buy things. Okay? When push comes to shove, yes, even the Republican Party will find it in their hearts to do the right thing, the bare minimum, okay, and go in a direction that is normally not a direction that they would go in. And I think that the way I see the climate bill, like climate bills passing under Democratic leadership, is in that same vein. It is one issue that the Democrats are objectively better than the Republicans on, and it's shocking to me that they do not fucking swing from the rooftops about this, if that makes sense. Like, it is frustrating to not see the Democratic Party utilize this as a way to be like, see, it's fucking happening. Like, Republicans literally use like 26 murders caused by undocumented migrants as a successful way to propagandize about an issue that's not even a real issue. Democrats, on the other hand, have like real things that are happening to Americans on a regular basis and refuse to fucking communicate exactly why it's happening and exactly how to solve it. Okay? It's just bad politics. It's bad politics. But y'all don't read articles about climate change policy. I do get a lot of PR about it, but usually write it up. No, come on. You yourself just said, holy shit, the news mentioned climate change. Amazing. You understand that there is a massive problem with communicating exactly what's going on and exactly who is responsible for it. Okay? That's the problem. And I do think that news media would be way more open about this kind of coverage if at least one of the two major parties was regularly fucking harping about this shit, okay? Like, it is so insane to me that the Green New Deal was packaged so perfectly. It was packaged so perfectly to not only harden the American infrastructure, but also create a fucking jobs program to transition our economy from being over-reliant on fossil fuels and instead focusing on renewable energies. And what did we do with it? The Republicans immediately went to work, they went to task, and they butchered it, they destroyed it, they communicated against it non-fucking stop, And now everybody thinks Green New Deal is a bad thing, and that it actually means like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to come to your house and kill you if you eat a burger. They blocked it, they gutted it, and then they actively communicated against it. And look where we're at now. Most Americans literally think when you hear Green New Deal, they fucking think it's about AOC coming in and killing you if you eat a burger. It's insanely frustrating. Have you seen Future of Reasoning by Vsauce? It explains why humans can't socially, cognitively solve this abstract, faraway problem of climate change. Oh, this is something I used to talk about all the time. Climate change is unimaginably devastating, but because it's like so abstract that people can't comprehend it, it's awful. They just don't understand. Like we do not have the capacity to understand it. And when there's no interest in even listening to fucking reason or scientists, and education is getting worse and worse in a country like the United States of America, less people believe the positions of authority on this matter. And it gets even worse overall. Like the communication on this gets worse overall. And when you have a party that is actively capitulating to right-wing framing on every single fucking issue, who's supposed to defend us? Like, who's supposed to do the right things? It's not that hard to understand. You can actually look and see it. No, dude. No, that's why there is so much. It's so much simpler to believe a neatly crafted conspiracy theory. Okay? It's so much simpler to fucking believe a neatly crafted conspiracy theory that, like, it's actually Chinese space lasers or Jewish weather machines that are causing all this devastation. And people would much rather listen to this fucking bullshit than actually listen to the goddamn scientists.
In a retirement state like Florida, a tourist state like Florida, and a place that many call home.
Yeah, it is certainly alarming for the future. Eric Arroyo, we have to leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for joining us, and please keep us posted if there's anything we can do to get a message out for you. Thanks so much.
Carlos Suarez is struck in Milton, joins us now from Fort Myers in Florida. And Carlos, just give us a sense of what you are seeing and how people there are preparing this evening.
Well, Issa, the folks that live in Southwest Florida.
One of my uncles, a big hog, living in a suburb of Tampa and refused to leave, even though my aunt and cousins have already evacuated with their pets. My grandma told him if he refused to leave, he should stick a shotgun in his mouth and pull the trigger to save himself the death by drowning. I don't think he's... Nah, he's gonna stick it through, baby. I ain't scared of no goddamn woke libtard hurricane, baby.
And to the north of where we are very much getting prepared for Hurricane Milton as it continues to make its way north. Here in Fort Myers, business after business after business has put up plywood. They have sandbags out, all in anticipation of what we expect to be some significant flooding. This one business here behind me has just started in the last couple of minutes inflating a water dam. What they're doing, what you're taking a look at right there, is an inflatable dam. They're filling it with water, all in an effort to try to keep some of the flooding out of this business. I'll tell you, though, not really sure how much this is going to work, considering that the storm surge that is being forecasted for this part of Southwest Florida is anywhere between 6 to 10 feet. And so if that does materialize, that water is going to be well above that inflatable dam here behind me. Part of why this part of Fort Myers is a part of an evacuation zone is because there is a rather sizable, a major river about a block and a half from where we are. It's called the Caloosahatchee River. It goes out into the Gulf of Mexico, and it also goes into Lake Okeechobee, which is in the central part of Florida. What's going to happen, what the forecast is calling for, is that as the storm continues to make its way north and makes landfall as it stands right now, just to the north of us, we are still going.
I genuinely think like Florida's handling of climate change is the most like Floridian way of operating. Like the idea that Ron DeSantis is like, no, we're going to focus more on fucking fossil fuels, right? Is no different than the Pioneer program that they implemented in the aftermath of the fucking Parkland shooting, right? Where they were just like, oh, dude, guns? You think guns are the problem? You think ease of access to an arsenal of weapons is the fucking problem? No, the solution is more guns. We need to arm the teachers. It is so insane. It is so fucking crazy, dude. It's the exact same shit. Republicans look at a problem And instead of acknowledging what's causing the problem, they're like, no, we need to do more of the thing that's causing the problem. The best solution to hurricane prevention is more hurricanes. I don't know. I just like, I mean, we saw this. We saw complete collapse during COVID, okay? We saw this collapse already during COVID. And I'm seeing the Republicans moving in that direction towards like all of the impactful events that are caused by anthropogenic climate change, like hurricanes, like natural disasters. Don't listen to the scientists. Don't listen to the fucking warnings. It's fake. It's fake and gay.
To see all of that storm surge, we're still going to see all of that rainfall, anywhere between 6 to 8 inches over a 24-hour period. And then when you add in high tide, the fear is that that river, the Caloosahatchee, is going to overflow. It is going to crest, and so it is going to have to end up going somewhere, and that somewhere is where we are standing. This area has known to flood. 2 years ago, Hurricane Ian just pretty much destroyed a good part of Lee County and flooded a great deal of Fort Myers, where we are, and a large part of the damage was the flooding brought on by the Caloosahatchee River. And so these folks are taking the storm serious. They're trying to do everything they can to try to keep some of this water out. But I've got to tell you, if these storm surge predictions hold, I'm not entirely sure that inflatable dam is going to do much in keeping the water out of that business.
That is incredibly scary picture that you've just painted for us, Carlos, and of course important context for our viewers, because for so many of these people, of course, they only just started, right, picking up the pieces after Hurricane Helene, which also packed a punch these communities. So give us a sense, are people heeding the call, and how easy is it, Carlos, for people to get out of Tampa?
Well, so, I mean, as you noted, I was in Tampa a week ago. We were doing a story on the damage from Hurricane Helene up there, and the debris there's just not enough time has passed for officials and cities to clear that debris. And so the concern going into this storm is all of a sudden that stuff becomes like missiles. It becomes, projectiles. And the last thing you want are pieces of furniture and cabinetry and water tanks, being thrown around in 100 and 125 mile per hour winds. As for whether or not folks are getting out, I can tell you, having crossed over from South Florida last night, people are hitting the roads. They are trying to get over to South Florida on the eastern side of Florida. If they live north of where we are, they're trying to get more inland into the Orlando area. And then if they're not going to the Orlando area, they're just trying to get farther north from where they live in the Tampa Bay area, because as you noted, the forecast track, if that holds, we're looking at a very powerful storm that's going to hit the Tampa Bay area over the next couple of days.
Yeah, very concerning indeed for everyone. Carlos Suarez, appreciated. Thank you very much, Carlos.